Good afternoon, Bella.
Hello, my dear. So before we get started, can we just tell Brenna Grace what a fantastic job she is doing so far of putting together this online festival? Good job, Brenna.
Yay, Brenna.
Yay.
And her right-hand woman, Ella Hayes. Way to go, Ella. Putting together all of this stuff. Ella, did you get your present?
I did. It's so great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I did too. And I have two of them.
Ooh,
Awesome.
got 3 pins. Yay.
Yeah.
Great.
And the bumblebee.
Yes, and your bumblebee. I should put my bumblebee on.
Didn't get mine yet. I'm so sad.
You haven't gotten yours yet?
Cara neither. East Coasters, we're not getting them.
Yeah, I think those of us on the east side, we
Yeah.
haven't gotten that bit yet.
Nope, we have not.
Well,
I'm
I
on the west side.
But the post office didn't have nearly enough labels for how many people registered. Good problem to have. So they went out at like a day or 2 later than we were hoping. So
Can you believe the post office was like, oh no?
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm here in Washington and I still haven't received mine.
Oh, that's odd. Sometimes Washington likes to do this weird thing where it goes to Kent and then Kent says, oh no, this is supposed to be shipped out of Seattle, and they send it to Seattle. And Seattle goes, no way, Kent, this is supposed to be shipped out of Kent. And they do that for weeks. I've watched tracking numbers
doesn't
where
go
I'm
to
like,
the other end of Canada and back.
Kent, Seattle. Well, it's unfortunately, it was $15 a package to send things to Canada. So
I know.
Mary Malinsky's coming down, and we're giving her the whole shebang, and she's going to send them from Canada.
But the ones you sent out last year, the postal code showed that it went from Washington State to Vancouver to Toronto, then to the island. And you just go, there's a ferry right next door. I shipped a bunch of stuff last week down there. I was just shocked because of COVID and shipping price. And I'm just like, for that, I'll take the plane and bring it to y'all.
Well, be lucky that you have a post office. I live in Colombia, South America. There's no such thing as a post office here. Like bills are hand delivered.
Yeah.
Like utility bills and all that stuff is still hand delivered.
Well, where we are, where my community is way in the north, it's when the airplane arrives. Everything comes on the plane and we just shake it down and figure out where it goes.
Yeah, the ways of the post office are mysterious.
and they are not to be questioned. All right, everyone. I would like to give it up for our wonderful Lady Belladonna LaVeau, who is going to be telling us why attending a Wiccan seminary is a great idea. So, without further ado, Lady Belladonna.
Yay. Thank you.
Oh, if everyone would mute your mic so that we can hear the Bella and make sure we don't have any weird noises going on in the background. Thank you.
It is my great honor to now be Dean Regent of Wiccan Seminary. Cara Drachnid is now the Dean of Seminary, and she is the first paid dean of any pagan college that I know of in the United States and the world. She is the first paid employee of the church, and I'm so proud that after 10 years of running the college, that we have taken this major step in our growth. And it is because of her expertise and experience that we were able to do so. She has I wrote the curriculum, but she has hammered it into a college. And so it has been an honor and a pleasure to work with her for a decade and to give the reins over to her. She has worked on revamping the school and making things a little bit less essay and a little bit more multiple choice and easier to turn in your homework. And it has really flourished under her care. Good job, Cara. Yes. And I'm so happy about the growth that we've had in the school. Now, let's just go ahead and get right to it. The reason I'm very popular is because I'm so good looking. No, the reason that you would want to come to a Wiccan seminary is there's a lot of reasons why, but the biggest one is your own personal growth. Wiccan Seminary teaches, the first 2 years teaches you how to develop your own magic and how to work through your shadow to get out of your way so that you can achieve success as a witch. There's this thing called a spiral curriculum. Let me show you what it looks like. This is the Wheel of Wise, and I created it, and it is clipping with my background, but it's basically the Wheel of the Year. You can look up Wheel of the Year on Google, and they'll pull one of these up. Makes me so happy. So the Wheel of Wise is the map of the path. You know, people are like, where's the path? Show me the path. What does the path look like? I don't know. Well, the path is laid out in the stars. It's the zodiac. And the sun and the earth and all of these bodies in the heavens move through the zodiac as we evolve through the year. The sun stands still, but from our perspective, it moves. So it's a little bit confusing when I say the sun moves. It stands still according to science, but astrologically, from our perspective on the earth, it moves through the zodiac. And we celebrate this passage of time. And because of the passage of time and the flavors the zodiac gives to the sun and the moon and the other luminaries in the sky, we have different lessons presented to us. And so the school, the curriculum in the school corresponds to this path and develops your progress as it unfolds your soul through the mysteries of the universe. So the first year is about learning the principles. There are 8 Sabbats, there are 8 principles, and then you learn how to cast and call. You learn how to celebrate the Sabbats, and it's basically like you know, I have a belly dance teacher. Her name's Cara Drachnid. She taught me that you can never practice the principles the basics too much. You can never do the basics too much. No matter how advanced you are, the basics create the foundation from which you flourish. And so the basics in Wicca 101, 2, and 3 are the foundation upon which all of your lessons can lean on. Whenever we have I watched Brenna has taught Wicca 101, and whenever we have a complex issue that we're trying to sort out, we lean on the basics to help us understand and guide ourselves to the solution. And I remember Brenna going, just apply the basics. Just apply the basics, because that's what we do. So no matter how far along you are on the path, learning the basics and rediscovering them, because I tell you, every time I read through Wicca 101 or sit through a Wicca 101 class from the church, not like from some random festival, but from the seminary, I learned something new. It is an ever deepening spiral into yourself. See, witchcraft is taught on a spiral because that's how the world works. You wake up in the morning, it becomes lunchtime, you have this spiral of things, you go to bed at night, you wake up in the morning, you start your day over, you do it again. The same thing with the week and the month and the year, right? So every time you go through a day, from the time you're born to the time you cross back into the arms of the goddess, you never repeat the same day. Even if you're stamping the same thing over and over again, you never repeat the same day because you're a little bit further down the path. You know, just a little bit more, right? So awesome, Chris. So you learn more things every time because you have more wisdom, you have more understanding, you have more experience. So it doesn't matter how many times you do it, you still learn more. And that is why alumni can continue to repeat the previous classes that they've been through as long as they want to. They don't get to turn in homework again and take up a teacher's time with grading it, because that would cost us money, right? But you can sit in a class and listen and develop yourself as many times as you want to once you've passed the class. And I think that that's really cool. So year one, you do Wicca 101, 2, and 3. That teaches you the 8 sacred principles. You do Keys of Hecate, which is the 8 classes of how to cast and call a circle. It's very in-depth. This is college level stuff. This is not, elementary school stuff. This is college level. We go deep into how you cast and why. And the cool thing about it, you guys, is that we practice casting a circle. And when you cast a circle right, the other people and the teacher can feel it. They can feel it go up. They can feel it go down. And it's really cool to experience magic like that. The wonderful thing, people are like, I want to be in person, I want to be in person. Well, I want to be in person too, but we're all over the United States, and that's really difficult. But when you can sit in a controlled environment and do magic over the internet, there's no wind, there's no people talking, there's no, oh God, the candle's going to get blown out, or any other stimuli that interferes with your ability to feel it. And so practicing it online and then taking it into the real world, I think, is the best of both worlds, because you can truly feel something just happened because I'm sitting here with no other external stimuli. Does that make sense? And then casting call, you get the Wheel of the Year, Wiccan law, and Wiccan history. Wiccan law is super important. If you don't know the laws that make up our religion, it's easy to break them. The Wiccan law establishes the culture that we understand together, and allows us to build a society based on these common understandings. There's not a, Pete used to call it the witch Gestapo. There's not a witch police force that's going to come put you in jail if you break the laws. There's no judiciary process, but the lords of karma, and your path unfolds based on your observance of the law. It is, I guess, the judiciary process, you can't really hide from it. It's there. And then the Wiccan law. So if you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it, right? But pagan history is really fun. We have some very interesting things that have developed over the years that we have been reestablished as a community, a magical community, and you get to learn about, I think we talk about March on Fort God, and you get to learn about pagan elders, and if you don't know about March on Fort God, that's a pretty cool story. That the person that did that centered around is still alive today, and is probably one of the most prominent Wiccan elders in our church. Yeah, he's Terry Riley. He's amazing. He's Zeus this year, and we are so fortunate to be able to work with him. We have so many powerful people, but very few of them stand on the courthouse steps and get shot at, which is kind of what Terry went through. Yeah, so they stood on the courthouse steps for 9 days against, and in the deep South, completely surrounded by angry Christians. And then outside that ring, there was the National Guard. Big deal. It was a big deal. And I think it's funny that we don't all know about it. So we have Wiccan history. It's really important. Second year, we do sophomore year, and that is a year's worth of shadow work and color therapy. It really helps take your magic much deeper. It expands it and allows you to develop your own magic, because we want you to emerge as the powerful witch the gods created you to be, instead of making, little witches that are all the same. It's really designed to help you blossom your own magic and be your own powerful entity that is part of the web. Because the web of variety enriches our lives, right? We don't all want to be the same. If everybody's the same, it breeds ignorance. I don't care what kind of same you are. If you get all of one kind of people together, it has a tendency to veil yourself from the larger picture. So we like variety. And then there is the junior and senior class is about service to the community. The first 2 years are about developing yourself. The second 2 years are about how to serve others. You can do rituals, moon rituals, Sabbath rituals, things of this nature. The reasons, we're talking about the reasons why you would want to go to Wiccan Seminary and to develop yourself is what I said first, but there are so many other reasons. See, the seminary was created because Terry Riley and his March on Fort God incident created all kinds of stir within the greater community. And he got to go on talk shows like Sally Jesse Raphael and I think Maury Povich and a bunch of things like that. And they brought all these Christian ministers who were like, Reverend this guy, Reverend that guy, and they were all like, rah, rah, Terry Riley, right? Witch, devil worshiper. It was a lot of ignorance. And Terry Riley was like, I'm a reverend, why can't we have reverend in front of my name? And they said, oh, self-proclaimed witch is what they put under his name instead of reverend. He was like, I'm a reverend, I want that. And they were like, you don't have a seminary for your religion, so we don't have to call you reverend. So what our amazing and incredibly legally educated Pete Pathfinder Davis did was he was coaching Terry behind the scenes when all this was going on. He was like, Terry, this isn't about you. This is about all Wiccans. We have to work together to make sure that we're presented in the right light. And so Pete helped him. And when Terry told Pete that they wouldn't put Reverend in front of his name and that they put self-proclaimed witch because there was no seminary, Pete was like, there will be tomorrow. And he wrote up the thing. And I can just see Pete with his fingers flying. When Pete left this plane, he left a keyboard, and the keyboard had fingernail marks in it on the keys where Pete was so diligent with his typing. And he created a state-recognized seminary, the only one in the United States. There are no other seminaries that are state-recognized that are pagan. And as far as I know, I mean, there's always like yesterday something could have happened, but we have not been made aware that any pagan seminary is accredited or state recognized. So he got us state recognized, and that allowed all Wiccans and pagans to put Reverend in front of their name, whether you've been to the seminary or not. The act of having a seminary gives a religion the right to use the term Reverend. And without a seminary, you don't have the right to use the word Reverend. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. So he got the seminary created for that reason. And then he set about trying to find somebody to run it. And he spent 10 years trying to find somebody to run it. And then he met me. And I was running my own seminary because I'm a teacher at heart. That's what I love to do. On the East Coast, it was called Wise Seminary. And one day he approached me and he said, Bella, I want you to take over my school. And I was like, well, that's really sweet, but I already have one, thanks. because I didn't know Wiccan history. Like, see what I mean? See how important it is to know the background? And he said, well, yeah, that's true, but you don't have the name we've got. And I was like, what's the name of your school? And he said, Woolston-Steen Theological Seminary. And I was like, that's not a better name than mine. Thank you, Gypsy. And I said, I can't market that. I can't say that. I can't even remember. What? Tell me again. Woolston-Steen what? And he was like, well, the Woolston-Steen Theological Seminary is what you can tell your Christian friends when they ask you what school you went to, so that you're not saying Lady Silver Britches School of Magic. I was like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. And he said, yeah, it sounds all proper and stuff. He was big on that. He said, but our website's pretty good. And I said, what's the website? He said, wiccanseminary.edu. And I said, oh, I can market that. Okay, let's do it. And so we merged Wise Seminary, which was my college in Georgia, and Wiccan Seminary, and we have the school that you have today. So the college has evolved over two different schools merging together and bringing teachers from, we have teachers from all over that we have found. We once had an Australian teaching Australian witchcraft. We have ATC Australia. Adam Barrett taught in the school for a little while. We have people who are experts in shamanism and other deities, and God, I'm trying to think. I'm not really up on the electives now because I'm not running the school anymore. I don't know all of the things, but we have animal magic, and all of these different things are brought together by compiling wonderful teachers. Trish Parker's a teacher in the school, and Brenna has taught in the school. We bring these experts together to give you a wide variety of education, so that you're not just pigeonholed by learning from one person. Now, when you're learning a magical discipline, such as an initiatory path, it's wise to learn that from one teacher. And why is that? Because students can go boom. You ever seen somebody go boom in your group? It's like everything's great, and then all of a sudden this person just explodes, and we all have to clean them off the walls and stuff. When you study an initiatory path with one magical teacher, they can monitor how your energy raises and make sure that you're moving forward without going boom. Wiccan Seminary is not an initiatory path. It teaches you the mythologies and the sacred sciences that make up paganism and Wicca, so that you can increase the knowledge that you might be gaining from your initiatory path. And that is why we use this Wheel of the Year. All of the classes rotate on the Wheel of the Year to keep our students from going boom. Magical students, and you ever seen Harry Potter and they're in the potions class and you put in the wrong ingredient, and then all of a sudden the student's all covered in soot? Same thing. You have to put the right information in at the right time to keep your energy flowing correctly. Otherwise, it's not good. It's not good. So that is another reason why you should go, because it allows you to expand your knowledge. It's a big sky. There's a lot to learn. There is so much information to learn in paganism that if you started today and you didn't do anything but study and read and learn, you would not finish by the time you died. There's no way. There's just too much information, which is a good problem to have. When I came into paganism, we had 5 books. Once you read those and you knew how to read tarot, you were a 3rd degree. Go do your own thing. I got my 3 degrees in 1 year. I didn't think that was a good thing until I found out that that's how they used to do it. Now that is unheard of because we have reclaimed all of this information and we have so much to learn. So when you get started out, you're like, I don't know what to study. Will you tell me what to study? Do you know what to study? Well, there's all of this different stuff. So we've kind of made it easy by giving you a nice broad overview of everything, and then you can intelligently decide where you want to go next because you've had an overview. You know, Mom used to ask me what I wanted to be when I grew up, and I was like, I don't know. The only thing I know that's out there is teacher, policeman, fireman, grocery store worker. I don't do any of those, right? I didn't know enough about the world to make that kind of choice. And that's what happens when you're new on the path. You don't know enough about all of the opportunities out there to make the right choice. And you can just pray and ask for a teacher to show up on your doorstep. But I have seen some people be very frustrated because sometimes it takes a long time. There's this verbiage, this adage that says, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Well, some people ain't ready. And it takes a long time because they're just sitting around going, when am I going to be ready? When am I going to be ready? Well, Wiccan Seminary helps you get ready. It helps you figure out what kind of teacher you want. You get to see all these different amazing teachers, and you can go, okay, so I need a teacher that's more like this and less like this. I need somebody who's going to shoot straight from the hip and tell me like it is, or I need some, like Cara Drachnid, or I need somebody who's going to be a little bit more gentle, a little bit more soft on me, like Trish, right? We have different teachers with different styles, and that helps you go, okay, so this is, you know, this is what I'm looking for. Because I need somebody just tell me straight. I don't always learn from the gentle hints of the universe, although I recommend you try, because it's less painful when you learn from the gentle hints of the universe, right? But you might find that, you know, you need somebody that's way less structured or way more structured. You want somebody that's more shamanic. You want somebody that's more ceremonial, right? And if you've never met and you're just desperate for anybody and you've been waiting 10 years for that teacher to show up, you're going to take the first one you find. That's not necessarily the best idea. Just like choosing a tarot deck based on the artwork. You know, you look at the artwork on the tarot deck, you're like, oh, I love this tarot deck. It's got the best artwork. This is what almost all of us do. We look through the tarot decks and we're like, oh, the cosmic tarot is so beautiful. This is what happened to me. And then I couldn't read it. Didn't understand what the symbolism was. Pick a deck that has less artwork, that the artwork doesn't blow me away, but I clearly understand the symbolism. That's the right deck for me, right? But I might have spent 2 years trying to read this cosmic tarot with its fancy artwork and just think I can't read tarot when I just needed a different deck so that I could understand it, right? So, no, traditional. Trish, you're saying you're traditional and not gentle? Is that what you're telling me? Because I think you're pretty sweet.
No, I meant you got to use a traditional tarot deck.
Yes, you have to use a traditional tarot deck. Yes, ma'am. That is correct. Trish is our tarot teacher. Yeah, so she knows. It is 4:30. So the other reasons that you want to go to Wiccan Seminary is because it teaches you structure. It helps you understand the spiral. It gives you all kind. Like I could talk about this ad nauseum because I really believe that a proper education is vital. Without a well-rounded basic education of Wicca, you can get cut off into a corner and lose yourself. There's, you know, they talk about all the time, oh, studying magic, you can go crazy. Well, not if you are educated But if you just wander around in the darkness by yourself, you can end up in the dark forest somewhere and not be able to get yourself back. You know, they talk about how fairies steal folks. You know, you wander off in fairyland and then you can't get back and you don't know you're not back. But everybody else is like, I don't know, man, they did this ritual and they haven't been right since then, you know? So I want to invite our beautiful and amazingly wise Dean, Cara, to come in and say why she thinks that we should attend Wiccan Seminary and round out what I have already said. Thank you, Cara.
Thank you, Lady Bella. The seminary provides us with a foundational knowledge that lets us work together. I was talking to a student who was a solitary practitioner for 20 years, and she's like, I don't know how to do all this stuff. I'm like, well, of course not. As a solitary, you do it however you want to do it, and it works because it's how magic is. But when we work together, if we all speak the same language and we all have the same group mind concepts, then our magic together is very powerful. And the seminary gives you that understanding of how to work in groups, how to work for others and with others, which is really important if we're going to move forward as a growing religion in a time where we're not seen in an accurate light. Attending a seminary gives us a sense of our whole religion, a sense of credibility. So when you start talking to people outside, like Bella said, Pete said, you know, Woolston-Steen Theological Seminary, that's what you tell your Christian friends. That's what you tell the government. That's what you tell the local city when you want to go rent the community center, because that sounds all nice and official. That's what you put on your resume when you're trying to get a job. That's what you do with that. And that gives us that credibility outside of our community, legitimacy. Yeah, in the eyes of the greater community. Good phrase there, Daryl. And I think that's important for us. I agree with Bella. If we don't study our history, if we don't, you know, study our foundations and go back to our basics all the times, we forget them, and they make us more powerful. So we have, I think, an exceptional program developed to do exactly that. We're building our electives every day. We have our core courses pretty solid, haven't changed for many, many years, but our electives are growing. We stood up our first graduate level class again. We had a graduate program, and we had to stop it for a while, and we are in the process of standing that up. And we have a graduate level crystals course going on, and we are in discussions with a couple of people, keeping our fingers crossed, to teach in the graduate school for the next semester. And I'm very much hope that in about a year, we'll be able to stand up an actual degree program there again. So lots of stuff is happening with the seminary. We're going places and doing things. And the work here is really great. Come join us. Water's good. Lady Bella, I'll give this back to you.
Thank you so much. And I wanted to let the people that are teachers in the school say a little bit. Trish, I know that you're here. If y'all could, our teachers, if you could just turn your cameras on. We'll let Brenna talk first since she went ahead and turned her camera on. And then Trish after that. And do we have any other teachers here? Just turn your camera on so I can see you.
Hi, everyone, Brenna. As Bella mentioned in the beginning of the workshop, I am also working on this Handy Dandy Festival here. I was lucky enough to I started out by helping teach the Wicca and Ritual 101 classes. I was doing the thing where I was an alumni and I was like, I need to learn more. I feel like I need to go back to like learn some of the basics. You know what? I'm just going to go sit in on the Wicca 101 class. It'll be great. I ended up sitting through it and helping the teachers. At the time, Bella was teaching Wicca 101 and Dusty was teaching Ritual 101. And I eventually asked if I could help them in any way. So I was helping grade papers and I stood in for some classes now and then and eventually was asked to teach full classes at the school. And I have had so much fun and I love meeting the students, knowing all the names, and every time I teach, I learn something new and different too. So I love the school. It is what I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to be a teacher, but I didn't think I'd get to because I didn't want to work with kids. And here I am, and I'm working with the best kids ever, adult kids. So I very much say you should check out the school, at least go to their rituals. The students do such a good job of planning them. Thank you for listening. Thanks. Okay, that's all I got.
Thank you so much, Brenda. You're adorable. And so let's hear from Trish.
Hey there. I have to tell you, I got into Wicca via like the festival circuit. I was running a festival in Florida where Bella and Dusty came down to be our guest speakers, and I fell in love with them immediately because damn, they could do ritual. They could stand out there, they could move energy, they could call down deity, and they didn't have to read a stupid card to do it. They were out there just doing this shit. And I'm like, oh my God, I've got to learn from you. Where do you know? And that's what attracted me, is I was just so impressed with the ritual power. You know, because, you know, those of us, we go to these rituals around town and people who are, they like, you know, this, and I'm not, okay, anyway, so I started school. I don't want to be negative, but anyway, I started school and I was homeschooling 6 kids. I was born to be a teacher. I love being a teacher. And I graduated the school and the master's program was actually in place, and I started the education track. So part of the education track was to do like workshops, show that you can teach. So I started teaching tarot in a workshop, and that's how I got in the door, because Bella's like, well, why don't you come in and start teaching tarot here? And we did it side by side for a year. But then my goal actually was to teach ritual, because that was my favorite class. Even getting into school, that's what I was attracted to. But Stacia was teaching the moon class. I absolutely loved it. And I remember sitting there talking to Cara, saying, that's my goal one day. I want to teach ritual, and that's what I'm doing. I also teach astrology, which is awesome. Y'all use your own natal charts to learn astrology. So you learn all about yourself while learning about the concepts of astrology. And then herbalism, I'm teaching that, and I'm so excited about this school. It's life changing. You meet people from all over the country, all over the world, and you really form really strong bonds, lifelong bonds, and then you get to travel everywhere to see everybody. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Trish. It's true. We're teaching the future leaders of Wicca. And you get to, as a future leader of Wicca yourself, you get to come up with them, grow up with them, and form deep, lasting bonds, which we hope that you will use to strengthen the web of our religion. So we have a wonderful teacher right here in our home that I enticed to come over to my screen. And I'm so glad to have you here. Dusty is an incredible animal magician and just a wonderful priest. He's our arch priest, and I'm so glad that he is my partner and that I get to practice magic with him every day. Dusty, share what you have to.
Hello, everybody. I hope that you're all having a wonderful day. It is an honor to be here. It's an honor to get to talk to all of you. I grew up a problem in school. I like to talk a lot. I'm very inquisitive. I asked way too many questions, more than my teachers had the ability to answer. And I even one day while fighting with the teacher said, I'm going to be a teacher one day. And they said, oh yeah? And I said, well, at least I'll know the students will have someone who cares about them. And I got in trouble. But I knew in that moment that I was going to become a teacher because I told the universe I wasn't. No, all jokes aside. It is an honor to get to teach this level. I know that I goof, but we have a really good time at the school too. We mix fellowshipping and education to really help connect a community of seekers together that really are one day going to be the people leading the communities at large. They're the people that come through our school are the people who have a dedication to their craft, and not just for their own personal use, but for the use of the community at large. The people that graduate from our school run food pantries and run their own groups and run stores and become psychologists and people who take care of the pagan customers within healthcare and stuff like that. I teach animal medicine, the Journey with the Chakra Animals. It's one of the few year-long elective classes. It's wonderful. I get to teach for 52 weeks. I also teach Defense Against the Dark Arts, which may sound kitschy, but it's more about how to protect the world from yourself and your own will than anything else that might be outside of you. And it's a real good time. And I'm sure I've talked over my time at this point because I could go on about how much I appreciate this school and the alumni network and the foundations that it builds for you, the student, outside of the school once you're done. So thank you all for being here. Thanks for letting me talk.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you. So I would like to open up to questions, comments, takeaways, contributions. If you want to raise your hand, I'll call on you as we go. So first one is Sylph. Thank you so much, Sylph.
Hello, my name is Sylph. I am a sophomore here at the seminary. I just want to put my little input in here. So I came to the seminary a year ago yesterday actually. Well, I am already a third degree in a different tradition. I have learned so much, not just about myself, but looking at Wicca in a whole different light. And I have grown so much because of the seminary. I run a prison ministry for pagans here in Arkansas, and the ministry has changed and grown because of my education and the community of what the seminary has given me. So I just want to give a shout out to Bella and all my teachers. I can't wait to finish the seminary. This year has been amazing. So if you are thinking about going to the seminary, I'm like, go for it, like cheerleading for you, because it is amazing. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much, Sylph. And we absolutely enjoy and adore your contribution. One of the wonderful things about the seminary is that you do get to volunteer. You do get to offer your services and learn how to serve. And so that is a benefit that I think people don't really realize that they get when you are a solitaire. Or when you're working in a small coven of just a couple of people. When you work with a larger organization, you get called to serve. Many hands make light work. Daryl Delph knows this for sure. And so he wears many, many hats. And so being able to volunteer and serve the goddess it's the joy of my life. It helps me go to bed feeling good about what I have contributed to the world. And so I would like to ask our Assistant Dean of Ministry to share now. Daryl Delph.
The Assistant Dean of Ministry isn't here. That would be Isadora. I am the Dean of Ministry.
Can I say assistant? I meant Dean. Thank you for correcting me. The Dean of Ministry.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, I carry a lot of hats, but in this particular meeting, I am the Dean of Ministry for the Woolston-Steen Theological Seminary. And the pork is ready. So what I do is I manage the ministry that the students get themselves involved with. We have daily devotionals, we have sacred service responsibilities, all kinds of things. And when they run into roadblocks or problems, they come, we talk, we work through it, and they continue on their journey. Where most covens and communities, you go to, 13 moons a year, you got maybe 8 celebrations a year. With the seminary, I think I counted it up once, there's 418 rituals a year. It gives you a lot of practice to, open up your abilities to serve. You find your calling quite often very rapidly. What was my path in this so far? I started out as an assistant sim manager.
Yeah, I think you've done all of it. You've taught, you've subbed, you've run the sim. He's the business manager. He's the summoner for the mother church. Lots and lots of hats. And that's kind of how it turns out when you're super talented like Daryl is, and you have the ability inside, then the goddess rides you like Secretariat all the way to the finish line, right?
Oh, yeah. The other thing that helps me is I have an entire affiliate behind me of talented priestesses, priests, and priestesses. So I love my coven family at the Mother Church, and I love the Evergreen Hearth, and I love the greater ATC community. You guys are also amazing, and it's what keeps me going. I love you all.
Thank you, Daryl. We love you too. We're so blessed to have you. And so how can you participate if you're not a part of the school? There are rituals that are online, and there are, I don't think there are classes that people can go to that are school related. No, okay. So I think at one time we were trying to put some classes together, but we haven't done that yet. It's really nice to not have to know everything and be able to delegate and have powerful, wonderful people being able to do it. I'm so happy that we have so much expertise in our community. Cara, did you have something else you wanted to say?
I was going to say we're working on a certification program that would not require you to do the full 4 years, but would let you focus in on a series of topics in addition to our graduate school. And we like there to be, if you're a student at the school, opportunities to do workshops and practice your own teaching, develop your own stuff as you go through the program.
Thank you very much, Cara. Trish.
We do offer, you can take classes, 1 class at a time or 2 classes. You don't have to join the school to take the elective classes. So if you wanted to take any of the electives, you can come in and do that.
That's true.
Oh, yeah.
You can do one-off electives and just pay the fee for the elective and take that. And there are scholarships. So when we were forming this school, the elders of the greater pagan community made it really clear that it needed to be inclusive and not just for the people that could afford it. And so we've gone out of our way to make it possible for everybody. If you want to go to school, there's a way to make it happen. You just have to reach out and talk to Trish. It's enroll@wiccanseminary.edu, or you can go to wiccanseminary.edu and click on the admissions. There's a lot of different ways to skin that cat. but ultimately fill out an application. I know we wouldn't want to skin a cat. I'm sorry, but there's a lot of different ways that you can get to place in an application and then be approved to go to school. And there's levels of involvement. It doesn't have to be everybody pays, $100 and something a month. But honestly, okay, if you're going to go to college, my daughter said, I want to go to Savannah College of Arts or something like that. And it was $250,000. It was $250,000 for like one. It's either 25,000 for a quarter, might have been 25,000 for a quarter. It was $250,000 worth of stuff for a 2-year degree. It was going to be $100 and something thousand a year to go to college. And I was like, baby, you better get a good job. Mama's a minister. They don't pay that kind of money. And so $100 a month to go to school is free. It's really free. And with what you get out of it, it's priceless. And yet there are ways that you can pay less than that if you're really struggling. There's some of us who just can't do that much. I remember when I was a new witch and I did not have enough money. And this kind of thing would have been invaluable to me. So I encourage you to look into the options and reach out to enroll and find out what the possibilities are for you and allow yourself to be a part of it, because the only thing that's holding you back is you. Thank you so much for coming and listening today. We have to get ready for opening ritual, which is in 10 minutes. My beehive bracelet says, actually it's my computer, but who knows. And I will see you there. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here and for listening and contributing to the conversation.
Thank you, Bella.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bella.